Today we are going to be talking about measurement tools. So make sure you have your workbook page 299 for lesson 133. The title is Measurement Tools. Now this is a review. We have talked about all of these tools, and each tool helps us to measure different things like length, weight, capacity, and temperature. Okay, so take a look at the tools on the page, just right here on the top. See where my pointer is circling? Okay, this first one, do you remember what that is called? That's a balance scale. That's right. Do you remember what it's used for? Very good. It's to compare the weights of two objects. Okay, now what's the difference between weight and capacity? Well, weight is how heavy something is. Capacity is how much space it takes up. Okay, so looking at these tools, which tool would you use to measure the length of a whistle? Which tool of these four would you use to measure the length of a whistle? The ruler. Very good. Okay. Which tool would you use to measure the amount of water in a baking recipe? The measuring cup. Good. Okay. Which of those tools tells us the temperature outside? Very good, the thermometer. And which of those tools would we use to compare weights? Or which object is heavier or lighter than another object? Which tool would we use for that? Good, the balance scale. Very, very good. All right, well, today we're going to draw a line to the tools Zeb can use to answer his question. And these are his questions right here. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. Should I wear a coat today? So say you get up in the morning, you're getting ready for school, whenever we had school, and you want to put you don't know whether to put a coat on or not to go outside. So which tool would you use to find that out? The thermometer. Very good. That's this one. Okay, so we're going to connect the dots. All right, I'm going to do mine a little straighter. Here, like that. Okay, good. Let's look at the next one. How long is my shoelace? What would you use to measure the length of your shoelace? You're right, the ruler. Let's go ahead and connect the dots. Is a banana heavier than an apple? If you said the balance scale, you are right. And before you connect the last line, remember we always check first. How much does my water bottle hold? And yes, that would be the measuring cup because it says how much. Remember how much space it takes up. That's capacity. If it said how much does my water bottle weigh, then we would have to use a food scale, which is similar to a bathroom scale that people weigh themselves on, except it's smaller. And you can just put an apple on it or a plate and measure things on that. All right, so now let's look down below. This is a review. Circle the scale, this one or this one, that shows that an apple is lighter than 3 bananas. Okay, well, let's look. Each scale has an apple. Each scale has 3 bananas. Which scale shows that an apple is lighter than 3 bananas? You're right, this one. So go ahead and circle that. Turn the page because, and that's because we learned that heavy on a balance scale, heavy goes down, light goes up. So the apple would be up because it's lighter. And the bananas would go down because they're heavier. Turn the page. Now I'm going to do numbers 1 and 2 with you. And then after that, you'll do the rest yourself. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. I'm going to change my color to blue because we're going to be filling a container with water. Okay, you can use your pencil or you can pause and go get a colored pencil or crayon. It's up to you. Let's take a look at the directions. Color container B to show that it holds less water than container A. All right, look at the size of container A. And you can see it's being poured into container B. So we have to show that container B is smaller than container A. Well, think about that. Like when you have poured water into another container and the smaller container can't hold all that water, what happens? Right, it overflows. So that's what we're going to draw here. We're going to show that container B is smaller than container A because when all of A is poured into B, there's going to be an overflow. So we're going to fill up our container B, and then we're going to have some water coming out. And I'm just going to show that with a little bit of water coming off to the side like that. And that tells us container B does not hold the same amount of water that container A does. It holds less. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. And remember, you can pause at any time and catch up. Okay. Color container B to show that it holds more water than container A. All right. You notice container B is a little bigger than it was here. Okay, so look at container A. It's pouring into B. What would it look like if container A is smaller than container B? Well, the water would only come up so far, right? Okay, so we would fill it up a certain amount, but it would not overflow, and it wouldn't be totally full because we're trying to show that it holds more water than A. If we filled it completely up, then it would show that it holds the same amount. So we have to have less water in here to show that container B is bigger. Okay, it holds more water. All right. So let's take a look at the bottom. You're going to use greater than or less than to compare. And I'll do an example with you. 300 is greater than or less than 500. What do you think? Right. 500 is greater. The alligator opens his mouth to the greater number. So when we read it this way, it says 300 is less than 500. Very good. Okay, so you can finish the rest of this page. Be careful to make sure you look at all the place values and mark them all. Don't forget any. And then you also need to do your homework pages 265 and 266. All right. Until next time.